Hi. So welcome. So I promised you that I'll do a series about the story of God, a series that talks about God's perspective, okay, of His Word. All right. So we'll be going through Genesis to Revelations, but looking at things not from man's perspective, where man is, every day I want this, I want that from God, but from the Creator's perspective, trying to understand God and understand His mind. We can never fully do that, but something to get us to actually understand Him a bit and understand His heart as a Father to us as we walk through His Word. That is from Genesis to Revelations, His story of rescue. Okay, so this is the story of God, and this is the first episode, okay, of it. I did it quite impromptu, ad hoc. A lot of some of my episodes are, but I'm hoping you enjoy it, and let me know your comments about what we can do about it to bring the word out more clearly to everyone. And also, most importantly, we'll watch the videos and then stay tuned for the discussion after watching it. So I'll come in. All right, let's get right into it.
Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. Then He separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. And evening passed and morning came, marking the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a space between the waters, to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth." And that is what happened. God made this space to separate the waters of the earth from the waters of the heavens. God called the space sky. And evening passed and morning came, marking the second day. Then God said, "Let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place, so dry ground may appear." And that is what happened. God called the dry ground land, and the waters seas, and God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant, and trees that grow seed-bearing fruit. These seeds will then produce the kinds of plants and trees from which they came." And that is what happened. The land produced vegetation, all sorts of seed-bearing plants and trees with seed-bearing fruit. Their seeds produced plants and trees of the same kind, and God saw that it was good. And evening passed and morning came, marking the third day.
Whoa, woo! Ha, whoa! I don't know. I hope you get to experience. Have a little idea of how it feels like. You can never imagine imagine it enough. You go to some of these space simulations and you get to experience space a little. Those things freak me out a little, I'll be honest. But I hope you really got to have a little appreciation of how creation went through this, and it brought some meaning. It made the Bible, the verses come alive for you, and I'm hoping you love it. The Bible is so interesting, and I wish everyone would read it, really read it and enjoy it. It's so interesting, and please, you have to. Now I'll go into my what I think about the verses and the interpretations on some of it. Now this is the discourse part, so let's also get into that. And it's amazing. Hope it explains to some detail how it feels, how it looks in my mind's eye concerning Genesis and this story about how we start off. Various theories come: the Big Bang theory, the whatever theories. But I mean, the very first, the moment of creation, now God is talking about the spirit of the Lord moving on the face of the waters. Now let me say this, I may come and clarify it a bit later on, but probably, okay, created the heavens and the earth. Okay, now I think that generally when we think about the earth, what we are thinking about is what we have now, okay, in a certain form. But I'm not sure that is really so, because in the beginning, if God created the heavens and the earth, and all it speaks about, and the earth was formless and void, and the Spirit of the Lord moved upon the face of the waters. Now, several parts as you go down to the other verses, it will show that the water covered both heaven and earth. You understand? It was like water covered not entirely of heaven, but you can see that for earth, there was water. There was no ground. This is something I'm still processing in a sense, but I would like your thoughts or your ear about it. There was essentially no ground. Okay, there was no earth. There was no, when I say earth, I'm talking about the soil. There was nothing. It was just void and water. I don't know why water was present, but basically when he created it, there was water. Okay, now I'll come back to the second thing that talks about the dichotomy between the first verse and the second verse. You don't know, you come there. But before then, let me just touch on this. So it was void, it was formless and void. Void meaning it was empty. And it was formless. It really had no matter. What this brings to mind is in the beginning, God created matter. Basically, he created substance, but there was no aid to it. There was no finesse. It was like a block of clay, but we are not talking about clay. We are talking about something that is almost like pure water. Okay, it was water, and there was the heavens also having water. Okay, so at a point in time, he says that let the water divide. But this is just giving you a picture of it. It was like water. There was no ground. There was no soil. Okay, so that is the first one. Now the second one that comes as an issue is the dichotomy, or there are theories that when you talk about Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 and Genesis chapter 1 verse 2, it says in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. The second verse is, and the earth was without form and void, as you heard. Now people say that there are theories that verse 1 and verse 2 there's a time gap between them, in that in the beginning God created heaven and earth, and then probably something happened. That's why verse 2 reads, and the earth was without form and void. I'll come to it, but first thing, what I can't say, the whole idea from what I have heard, even if you're listening to the late Archbishop Benson Idahosa, he talked about the fact that the central argument about this, and his also position, was that how can God create anything that is void, okay, and formless? God does not create anything that is void and formless. And respectfully, I felt that it may be a bit simplistic, okay, because one, do we know God? Who are we to know God full enough to know what he can create and what he cannot do? It is like saying that God cannot do bad things, but God does bad things in order to teach us lessons. And for him, anything God does something. I mean, he's the creator, he's the master architect. You are not the one coming to tell him what is good or bad. You come there sometimes. You mean me? I have my issues with God. Plenty. You haven't even heard there. Plenty. But you can't say that holiness, you see, everything God does is holy. Everything he consecrates and says, I've taken this as holy, is holy. Period. Whether this thing is David who steals someone's wife, or something else that we human beings will say it is not, is not holy. It's not something that God should do. We do not determine who God is or who God should be. So I felt it a bit, we don't know God all through. Even me sitting here, what I'm saying may just be, rubbish. Yeah. But it feels like we don't know God fully for us to decide what God can and what cannot do. Okay, so if you say that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and then the second verse is the earth was without form and void. So because we on our own purview, we decide that God cannot create something that is a formless and void, then that means that something must have happened between verse 1 and 2. I'm not saying something did not happen between verse 1 and 2. I can't tell, but I'm saying that is a simplistic way of thinking, and that is putting too much stock on our own understanding to make such very heavy assertions or theological stance and say that is my view. Now, on the second point is, what if heaven and earth, as stated there, I don't know the Hebrew for it, and I'm not a Hebrew scholar. I'll not try to even attempt to decipher what it means and what it could have meant at that particular time when it was written. But what if heaven and earth, as written there, are states? Not states as in the United States, but presence, not necessarily things. Okay, it's simplistic to say void, heaven and earth, something must have happened and chaos and all that. I don't know, honestly. If I find more and I think that there's a truth to some assertion, definitely I'll share my view, and those who think also same can also verify on their own accord. But now what we have here for me is he created heaven and earth. This is no ground. All I see is matter. Okay, all I see is substance. But he's now coming to mold it, more or less. Yes, he's now coming to mold it. All right, so we go to verse 2. Now you see what I hope you're finding it interesting. So we go to verse 2 and now, let's see. So this thing about day and night, I hope you're loving. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. I tried to use a bit of AI. Some things I found on the net as well. I was trying to get AI to try and put some pizzazz to it. It can never match to the real thing if you were there and if you were watching with these human eyes. But you can see that first of all, you see how first day he talks about the day and the night. God creates light, and then he creates the sun and the moon. Now that what that could tell us is that the sun and the moon are not essentially light in themselves, and I think we have proven that by those who have, if it can be believed, those who've gone to the moon. The moon itself is not light. No, it isn't. Now, no one has gone to the sun, but as far as we know that the sun is also gaseous, burning something that sort of emits or light or something. But essentially, the moon is a reflector. Now, God says that He creates light. He says, "Let there be light." And there was light. Everything was dark before, so there's light, and then instead of the light covering everything, he separates the light on one side and he separates the night on one side, and then he says this is day, this is night. this is one whole day. This is one whole day, he does that. And then he comes and now he creates the sun and the moon. He creates, we call them great lights, but actually what he talks about is that they are governors. They are things he uses to govern the light. There was already the state of light and the state of darkness. Do you understand? Then he creates something to actually connect that state to something, so that it is like a switch. To govern the day and night, he creates two great lights. He creates, we know the moon is not a light, obviously, so that it's a biblical interpretation. Remember that everything has been interpreted somehow, broken down by someone else's views and all that. But basically what we have is he creates a switch. He says to govern the day and to govern the night. So we have something, the sun to govern the day. So to govern does not necessarily mean, in my understanding, to govern does not necessarily mean it is itself light, but it is something that governs the light. Watch it. What happens is that what brings light in the morning is the sun. When the sun is rising, light comes. When the sun is going down, light is taken away. It doesn't matter whether you think the sun itself is the light or whatever. Yes, scientists will tell you the sun, but according to biblical record, it is governing it. It is controlling light. At least that's what I see. Okay, you can share your thoughts. I'm not saying I am perfect. I'm not saying my understanding is even correct, but this is what I see. Okay, so the sun is governing the day. The sun sinks, sets, and then night comes. And then the moon also governs the darkness. And now it governs the darkness in the sense that it doesn't make everything dark. It's essentially creates some sort of a grayness or lightness to it's not pure darkness. If you realize, it's not pure darkness. So sometimes, somehow, the moon takes a bit of the light and uses it to control the darkness. It's some but in essence, when I saw the word govern, I was like, so it's not really like govern, like it's supposed to regulate the state of light and darkness, sort of. Anyway, it's just a thought. Like I said, it's just a thought. You can think what you want and also share your views. I mean, it's all interesting. May the Spirit of Lord lead us into His truth and not all our minds or whatever. So yes, I mean,
one thing I also realized recently is the fact that scientists are oftentimes nowadays, they can't really tell why the Earth is actually spinning on its axis. Now, the lights, whatever part of the earth is exposed to light is what makes it day and night. Do you understand? So the state of light is already there, the state of darkness is already but because the earth is spinning on its axis, whichever side faces the lights now gets day, morning time or daytime, and whichever side of the earth faces the darkness has night. So scientists cannot really say. There are various theories on why the earth is spinning on its axis. Now, I don't know. I mean, this is just a thought, but if God has created regulators of the light, then I don't know, maybe possibly the spinning of the earth's axis, or the earth on its axis, which creates the situation of day and night, or that regulates which part of the earth has light and which part of the earth does not have light or is dark, may be connected to the regulators of light, the sun and then the moon, the activities of the sun and the moon, such that whatever may be their pull is what is causing the earth to regulate, to turn on its axis, thereby creating the the situation of regulating which side of the earth is facing light, and which regulating day and night, essentially. So I don't know, because when he created it, he said now there's a regulation for the lights. I know that God creates systems for whatever he does, so something like that. This is just a thought, but it'll be interesting to see what you guys also think on that.
I mean, I'm sure it's quite interesting, and it's something, Yeah. Now the first thing that God did was, everything, like I said, was water, right? Like, you see that there was water covered this of the deep. It was like everything was deep water. So this is what he says. He says, so let the waters part. Okay, this is what I see. Let the waters part, and let there be space. So it was like the waters from the heavens and the waters on the earth. When I say on the earth, I'm not talking about soil. Like I said, it's a state, or it's a whatever in matter. They're all one, like one uniform slab. Then he cuts the middle of the slab and says, let there be space between. Let there be water for heaven and water for earth. Okay, so there should be two waters, down and up. Okay, I'm not seeing down and up physically, but I'm giving you an idea. So down and up, and then there's space in between. You see? So let there be space in between the waters, such that the waters from the heavens and the waters from the earth. So now we have waters up, waters in the heavens. So that gives you an idea that there's water, probably. Now remember, the space in between he calls sky. Now let me bring something to your mind right now. You know that when on this earth, the sky we see above, what we call sky is actually space. Is what we see of space that we call sky. Great. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed the discussions that we had, the various thoughts that we had concerning the verses and their meanings and everything. Thankfully, the Holy Spirit led us into it, and I hope that you took something for it. Please, I'm not perfect, and I'm not, when I say I'm not perfect in the word, and I'm not perfect in hearing the Spirit also as well. I'm not perfect. I'm not Jesus. So yes, I agree that some of it, like I said, I don't have all the answers, but I am believing that some of the things that you also share, that the Spirit will share from you, would also help us strengthen our conviction in Christ, and also help us strengthen our knowledge and our experience of the Word through the Holy Spirit. So do well to share what you actually felt. Do well to share what you saw. Do well to share your mind, or what the Spirit leads you regarding the verses, and in the comments. Yes, in the comments, and we can talk more about it. Yes. So this is episode 1. Get ready for episode 2, which will be dropping very shortly. Thank you for staying tuned, and see you on the next episode of The Story of God.